my biggest memory about him is having a gynecological examination with two little grays around here. And he was standing here. Oh, I didn't know he was standing there, but, and then I was freaked out because I had never seen them really doing anything like that before or had any memory of it. And I started getting very nervous, and he leaned over and looked in my eyes and just kind of relaxed me and said, do not be worried, we're not here to harm you. This is very necessary for the hybrid program. So that hybrid program.
Yeah, how old were you then?
16.
Okay.
And so subsequently I've seen a lot of children. I've been, my very first presentation was with this tiny skinny little baby that they laid in my arms. And when they did, because I think of the telepathic nature that we have, the bond that we have had, I immediately was seeing what they were, or they were sending me message, and it was a people, men, women, both, being presented. Some people went, oh my God, no. Other people went, yes, but not quite so much. There was a guy who dropped the baby. There was different presentations that they'd show me. Because when you have this telepathic communication with ETs, it's in whole sentences, it's in whole story form. It comes into your mind, into your head. So you get words, you get the whole image in your head. So that's what I saw, and they said telepathically, this was a success. So I believe that, don't know if that was my first one, but that was my first one I remembered of the presentation.
Do you think this baby was related to you? And
oh, absolutely. I knew I bonded immediately. That's why they felt it was a success, because I immediately took the baby.
Okay, so it was
and bonded.
yours.
It was mine. And then my whole life, I've been presented different children. I was presented this beautiful little blonde girl who was probably 4-ish, maybe 5-ish, and she was these big eyes, blonde, really very like cotton candy hair, very thin. And I've been on the ship many times, and the ships, the lighting comes from everywhere.
No shadow.
There's no shadows.
Yeah.
The lighting comes from everywhere. It comes from the wall, the ceiling, everything, and the floor even. And the floor has a different texture. It's not hard and it's not carpet, but it gives, maybe like organically.
Okay.
In some of them. Some ships were more, the gray ship was more very hard, rounded corners, a lot of things, but more metal, more, and very, what do you call it?
Solid?
Clinical,
oh,
you know, very
okay.
clean, very clean, like clean area. All the time through my ET experiences, in probably starting about 1982, I was having MILAB experiences, okay? So being taken, yes. I was being taken into underground bases.
Could you describe?
Yes,
I
can.
The alien bases underground?
Oh, okay, sure. All right, well, the walls were a very slick black wall in some times. Other times, I just saw gray walls and the very plain walls, and I remember seeing basically regular fluorescent lighting. So then there's also cubicles that I remember, and windows, so we were watched, different things that they did. I remember being interrogated by them. And
so the military were abducting you to know what the aliens were
doing,
yeah.
Where their ship was, where their bases were, things like that.
Did you have any answers? Or?
I did have answers,
okay.
Yes. But I almost became a double agent in a way, because the aliens had been great to me. They had not.
Oh.
So as far as I'm concerned, whatever I could keep from them, and learn from them to take back to the ET,
Okay.
I would do that, and I did. And one particular time, now, reptilians, greys, humans, people in white lab coats were the characters in this in all these experiences. And I had several encounters with reptilians. One time while I was walking down one of these gray hallways, there were soldiers coming towards me. There were also people in lab coats, and they would look at me up and down. But then I knew there was a reptilian walking next to me, and I was in this, you know, catatonic kind of state and walking. But I knew he was there, and I thought to myself, I know there's a reptilian. Why don't they look at him? I know he's there. I'm not imagining. I know he's there. And right that very moment, he shot back in my mind. He said, because they know better. They know they must respect us. They are not allowed. Now, again, with that whole imagery thing, then I saw that they're not allowed to look in his eyes.
Who?
The humans are not allowed to look in the reptilians' eyes. Okay. They must honor them. In that level I was in, they are in charge.
A military underground.
And military underground dumps.
Okay.
Right. And the military people are not in charge. It's the reptilians in that level I was at.
Okay.
And then later on, I was thinking again in my head, and I thought, since you can hear me earlier, I want to know this. Why are you invading us? Why do you want our planet? And he said, it's not your planet, it's our planet. We were here long before you were. We were here when the meteors came. We were here when the dinosaurs. It's our planet. Now that made me understand something. I looked a little different at them, though it's not my, you know, their service to self, but I can understand if they had been here before us, and we were the genetic manipulations that happened for the Anunnaki and from then on, and Atlantis and all of those, then I can understand how they feel that it is their planet, and we are the invaders.
Yeah, okay.
So look at it from that point of view.
Are they feeding on us, or?
There are some that are, yes, yes, because like there are some, there is a black market that is as part of the space program.
Yeah?
My opinion only. I can't say 100%, but because of the research I've done, which is extensive, and because of the experiencers I've talked to, which is extensive, thousands I've talked to, I know in the you know, the 25 years I've been doing this, that they do have a slave trade with other species. And we will give you so many of these. Some are used for slaves, some are used for food, some are used for the drug that is when they kill them.
Okay. In exchange for?
Technology.
Oh, okay.
Helping us with the space program, helping us go from planet to planet. That's what it's all about. And that's why there's not ever going to be a disclosure, because then they'd have to admit, in God's name, what have they been doing for this many years, selling out their people and giving them away, you know, all ages. So that's why I don't think they'll ever be.
So the higher-ups of this kind of conspiracies, are they the Bilderbergers, or are they?
Oh yes, yeah, the Bilderbergers, the Rothschilds, all of them.
Okay.
The families.
So they're
There's only like probably 3% of the population that is really, really bad. So what in the world have we been all so programmed to believe that we can't stand up to that 3%? It's so sad to think that we have been all dumbed down and desensitized and mind controlled through TV and music and Hollywood and all of that to you know. father started to trauma-based mind control. Being that he was a mind control person himself, he was totally controlled. So I hold no malice, though it's been a long time to get through that. So that my father and all the torture he did, which was sexual torture, which was pain torture, and as he was torturing me, he would say, "I'm sorry, I have to do this to you because you have to know how to leave your body. You have to know how to go away."
Okay, the torture serves to do an out-of-body experience or some kind?
Yes, but what is more important, you go out, they can now program another alter. It is how they start the alter programs, the DID, the dissociated disorder.
Is someone else?
So someone else, some other
personality,
some personality of me. Okay, so there's two methods they do. So they'll teach you how to go out of your body, and then they also hypnotize, because my father was a hypnotist. So he would hypnotize me. So the out of the body was to be able to handle the pain. And it's all kinds of goes together, but the hypnosis is what they do to reprogram the alters. So they have a blank slate by the torture, because you blank that out, that part of your life, that memory, that age, and then in that place they put Darlene, which was my first one that was born. Darlene is and she, when she came out and talked in a therapy session, said, "I'm the one that takes all the torture. I'm the one that that takes the does the ritual abuse. I'm the strong one. She's the weak one. If it wasn't for me, she'd be dead."
Okay. So the CIA has been studying that.
CIA has been studying that. They've been, yes, the paperclip scientists, Mingala, and all of those came over, and they started. Okay,
they started back in Germany?
It did. It started in Germany. They brought the paperclip scientists over to America and all over the world, but a lot in America, and they started this whole programming of the mind control. In fact, right there in Canada, is Dr. Cameron, who is well known for working with the CIA. And
in McGill University.
That's right. Yeah. And he did the driving program, which was one of the programs that they had me on. Now, the driving program is where they put you to sleep for days, weeks, months. Days, weeks, or months, they put you to sleep. Sleeping.
Oh, really?
Intravenously feed you and keep you. Is it like a
coma or some sort?
It is. It's like a coma. Okay. And you're a blank slate, and so then they can put they can put implant memories. So we're going to fast forward. My program continued on. I was in state hospital that is there in Blackfoot, Idaho, and I was used desensitization programs where they put these helmets on you and put this horrible imagery at you until you get to a point after days and weeks that you can handle it with. You can handle all the grossness. You can handle all the fear.
So is there a link with what they're showing us in TV movies?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
oh,
because
yes.
the more
they're desensitizing people now.
Oh wow!
Absolutely.
Really.
They had
something.
they had to practice it, so they practiced on my generation.
Okay.
Also, they would isolate us in sometimes boxes, like a coffin type thing, isolate us in water, isolate us in a closet, and these were all when I was a child and stuff until I was in my teenage years. Driving program actually didn't start till I was 18. So I was in Seattle, and in Seattle I was, that was when the first ritual abuse and the sex and the beta slavery. And so people understand, in the Monarch program, they do an alpha training. Now, alpha is to start programming you to have alters and program you to be hypnosis and susceptible. And then they have the beta program, which is they make perfect sex slaves because they use them, us, in situations like they want to compromise a judge. They want to compromise a senator.
Okay.
Then they put them in that kind of a situation. And we, as programmed robots, have no idea what's going on, and we only follow orders. Drugs such as ketamine, LSD, psilocybin, several other types of drugs that they use. Ketamine is a drug that now is called the date rape drug.
Oh, okay.
But it's been a government drug for a long time, since the 60s. So, memory I have is, now here comes in the Montauk boys into my picture. Twice I've seen other Montauk's boys. In this situation, and this came to me while I was on the bus ride home, but that I pulled up to gates, these big iron gates, and this was someplace in Victoria, Canada, someplace like that. All I can remember is Victoria or Victoria Island or something like that. And we pulled up to these big iron gates, and there was this big mansion, and it was like lights on and stuff. And we were in a bus, and there were like 9 of us girls. Anyway, it came out to 13 of total, and the rest were boys. And so we're driven to the back. We're taken up the back stairs, and we use as party favors. So I'll just leave it at that. The boys you use as party favors upstairs. The girls are told and given gowns to be put on, so they're entertainers downstairs, because this is a big, big party. There's dignitaries, there's foreign dignitaries, there's vice president, there's senators, congressmen, there's even aliens there.
Really?
Yes, there's even aliens there.
What do they look like?
The reptilians, but they are not per se in the party. They come later during the rituals. Okay, so the next, as I mentioned, that there was a reptilian that I'd seen. Well, that happened later on that night, and it was I woke up basically standing in a line with women, and we were in these white kind of robes, and there was a circle, there was a pit, and there was a slab there of altar, and then on top right here was what I would say a lieutenant colonel, and then there was a reptilian, a draconian is what I would call them. Very big, very, very scary looking. So it's very tall, yeah, 8 feet tall. And so one by one we would see ritual ceremonies and ritual sacrifices that night. And
who would do that?
Well, I'll tell you who would do it. It was humans who did the killing, but the reptilian was standing right there, right at the end of the altar, and I could see, maybe because of my psychic abilities, I could see this energy that they took, the adrenaline, the fear, the terror of somebody dying, and they sucked it right up into them.
Who were they? They were people that
they were let's call them the unnamed party favors. I didn't know them. They were from something else. They can be things like, they can be people that are the runaways, not runaways, they're abducted. They can be, and they're also there's babies and children, and so it can be any of those that they've been. Some of them were just born to be sacrifices.
Okay.
Because they do also have their own hybrid program that they are using.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Okay, our government also has a hybrid program.
Oh yeah?
ETs have a hybrid program. Our government, CIA, I don't want to say who it is.
Okay.
Factions of the Black Ops that are in the underground bases also have a hybrid program. And I have been used in the hybrid program there as well. And they also have a super soldier program, which is also part of the hybrid program. So the hybrid program goes into probably 2 or 3 different aspects of it. The super soldiers, the sacrifices, and the others that they can get genetic hybrids that they can mind control and do their bidding. And psychic, because they're very psychic. When you mix the ET which is what they're using, and not necessarily reptilians, but the reptilians are very psychic species. So when you mix those genetics together, you get more psychic people. The next missing time period I have is in Salt Lake, Utah, and I answer a phone. Just seems like a fax machine. That's the last thing I remember.
So it triggers something?
It triggers something. 8 months later, I am now in San Francisco, and my first memory is of Bohemian Grove. You familiar with Bohemian Grove? Bohemian Grove is the Illuminati, Bilderbergers, big place they go, and they do everything there. So they have sexual slavery and sexual, you know, well, like what I remember is in Bohemian Grove, we were in the back area of Bohemian Grove because they have this one area where all of these high officials, they're all masked, so you can't tell who they are, but they're from all over, and probably all over the world, but they do ceremonies there, ritual ceremonies, with a big owl there. But they also have to entertain, and we were the party favors for the entertainment to happen. But
what's like a secret place?
Back into the woods.
Okay.
Yeah, because Bohemian Grove is in this huge wooded area outside of San Francisco that no one goes to. No one's allowed to go there.
Okay.
There's gates, you can't go there. It's very, very private, secret stuff goes there. Okay. So that, and then I had other experiences, and this is where the...
How old were you then?
Then I was 19.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, and then there were all kinds of different things. So I'm not going to really go into it, but because they used me everything from information, technology, psychic ability. They used my memory, which I don't have a memory now, but I had a photographic memory, okay. And they'd use me to take out messages and send messages back and forth. And always when you have these messages that you're given, that you take, there's always at the end some kind of a sexual thing that goes on. So that was a huge part of the women, is Monarch. We were the sex lives. And so I never remembered anything for 8 months and never knew I was in San Francisco either until my brother knocked on my door and said, "We have been searching for you for so long. Have you been here the whole time?" I said, "I don't know. I just woke up when I answered the door." And so that was,
So you had flashes of?
I have flashes. I have just flashes. Now, I can't tell you if those 8 months and the 8 months, the 16 months, mm-hmm. I could probably give you 3 hours, 4 hours memories.
What would it take to disclose everything?
All of them to die.
Besides that.
All of the upper to go bye-bye.
Yeah.
That would, besides that, disclosure is going to happen through people like ourselves, through the internet. Mm-hmm. What the internet they put together was the CIA, Google, and all of that, was put together to watch us, but we're using it against them. And I think that's fabulous, because YouTube and internet and all of those things that are coming out, people in their video, and people such as yourself, are the disclosure. And can we force the other? I don't know. It's going to be hard. Not until we clean I have to clean that swamp first.
Yeah. So about the benevolent ones, they're not interventionists. They're not going to do anything, or they want us to wake up before they do something.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yes, we have to raise our consciousness before we go out into space in that degree, before we join the galactic family of origin, the galactic family, because we have an innate war-killing energy in us. We have that reptilian factor in us. We have the reptilian brain in us, and I believe with all my heart and soul that the hybrids are a part of clearing that out, of clearing that and making a new type of human that doesn't have that reptilian brain. Because if you know any hybrid children, you'll know that they have a special thing about them, that they don't understand hate, they don't understand war, they can't even understand childhood problems, that how kids can be cruel to each other. They don't understand that.
But there's two separate things. There are, the bad ones that they're, using sacrifices to get something of.
Yes.
And you have some other groups that are
The galactic.
Okay.
Let's put it down here. The ones that are in this Earth and working with the Earth faction, CIA, and the Black Ops and all of that, shadow government, are service to self, totally. The ones in the Galactic Federation, they are trying to help enlighten us, but they don't also want us out there in space until we are ready consciously. And as a group, as a whole, we're not.
It's hard to be ready though when we're all programmed back.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and that's why.
That's a
It
lot
is
of
very,
work.
it's very hard. It is very hard.
Yeah.
But it also means it's the 12th monkey thing. The 20th, whatever, not 12th monkey, 100th monkey, I think
Oh,
it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yes,
100th
100th
monkey,
monkey. So if you've got, that small group can change. We can change. That's why this, to me, is not just a UFO groups and things like that. This is a movement that is really important to Earth. It's the most important thing ever happened to Earth, is waking up to this. And more people are waking up, and they don't even understand. They don't know if they had experiences, but they know they're waking up to the fact that they don't fit here anymore. And that's a beginning, and then a lot of them find out that there are contactees and that they're experiencers.
It was a pleasure, and thank you so much for your time and for
you.
all this information. It was just great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miesha.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you much.